The relentless Martian dust storm howled outside the research dome, but inside, Dr. Jake Harper barely noticed. His eyes were fixed on the holographic display, studying the intricate patterns of an ancient Martian glyph. As an archaeologist specializing in extinct alien civilizations, Jake had always felt more at home among the remnants of long-dead cultures than in the bustling spaceports of Earth. A sharp beat from his comm unit broke his concentration. Jake swiped his hand through the hologram, dismissing it with a sigh. "Harper here," he said, activating the comm unit. "Dr. Harper, this is Galactic Notary Services," a crisp, professional voice announced. "We regret to inform you that your associate, Zornko of Zircon, has passed away." Jake felt his stomach drop. Zornko, the eccentric alien scientist he'd met at a xenoarchaeology conference 3 years ago. They'd bonded over their shared passion for ancient cultures and kept in touch sporadically, but he hadn't heard from Zornko in months. I'm sorry to hear that," Jake managed, his mind reeling. "How did it happen?" "The cause of death is classified," the notary replied, her tone neutral. "However, we are contacting you because you have been named as the primary beneficiary in Zornko's will." Jake blinked, sure he had misheard. "I'm sorry, what?" "You, Dr. Jake Harper, have inherited the bulk of Zornko's estate," the notary continued, unperturbed. "This includes his research facility on Zircon, his collection of artifacts, and his legal partner." "His what?" Jake sputtered, feeling like he'd stepped into some bizarre dream. "On Zircon, marriages are often arranged as part of business or research partnerships," the notary explained. "Zornko's partner, Lara Zinn, is now legally bound to you as part of the inheritance." Jake collapsed into his chair, his mind spinning. "This has to be a mistake. I barely knew Zornko. Why would he leave me everything? And I can't inherit a person." "The laws of Zircon are quite clear on this matter," Dr. Harper, the notary said. "Lara Zinn's status is that of a research partner, not property. However, the partnership is binding unless both parties agree to dissolve it." Jake ran a hand through his disheveled hair, trying to make sense of the situation. "What happens if I refuse the inheritance?" "Then all of Zornko's research and discoveries would be turned over to the Zirconian government," the notary replied, "including some rather sensitive information that Zornko believed would be safer in human hands." A chill ran down Jake's spine. What had Zornko uncovered that was so important? And why trust him of all people with it? "You have 72 Earth hours to decide," Dr. Harper, the notary said. "If you choose to accept, transportation to Zircon will be arranged immediately." The comm unit clicked off, leaving Jake alone with the howling storm and his tumultuous thoughts. He stood, pacing the small confines of his research dome. His eyes fell on a small, iridescent crystal Zornko had given him years ago, a fragment of some long-lost alien civilization. "What were you mixed up in, old friend?" Jake murmured, turning the crystal in his hands. The thought of abandoning his work on Mars chafed at him, but the promise of undiscovered alien artifacts and the mystery surrounding Zornko's death tugged at his curiosity. And then there was Lara Zinn, a woman, if that was even the right term, he'd never met, suddenly thrust into his life by the strange laws of an alien world. The whole situation was absurd, like something out of a pulp sci-fi novel. Jake's eyes drifted to the half-finished reconstruction of the Martian glyph floating above his workstation. He'd always been drawn to the unknown, to piecing together the puzzles left behind by vanished cultures. Now, a much more immediate mystery awaited him among the stars. With a deep breath, Jake activated his comm unit. "Galactic Notary Services, this is Dr. Harper. I accept the inheritance." The next 72 hours passed in a blur of preparations and briefings. Jake's head spun with information about Zirconian customs, warnings about the planet's harsh environment, and a crash course in interstellar law. Before he knew it, he was boarding a sleek interstellar transport, watching the red dust of Mars recede through a viewport. As the ship accelerated to faster-than-light speeds, Jake clutched the small crystal from Zorn-Kerr. Whatever awaited him on Zircon, priceless artifacts, scientific breakthroughs, or dangers beyond imagining, he was determined to uncover the truth behind his friend's final gift. The stars streaked by outside, and Jake Harper, a man who had always looked to the past, found himself hurtling towards an uncertain future among the stars. The interstellar transport emerged from hyperspace with a shudder, and Jake's first glimpse of Zircon took his breath away. The planet was a swirling mass of vibrant purples and deep blues, with rings of crystalline debris sparkling in the light of its binary suns. "Prepare for atmospheric entry," the ship's AI announced coolly. Jake gripped his seat as the transport plunged into Zircon's upper atmosphere, buffeted by fierce winds and pelted by microscopic crystal shards that pinged off the hull like hail. As they descended, Jake caught glimpses of the alien landscape through breaks in the cloud cover. Vast crystal forests stretched to the horizon, their faceted spires refracting sunlight in dazzling rainbows. In the distance, he saw the gleaming domes of what must be Zirconian cities, their architecture unlike anything he'd encountered in his studies of ancient civilizations. The transport touched down on a landing pad jutting from the side of a towering crystal spire. Jake took a deep breath, checking the settings on his environment suit one last time before the airlock cycled open. The gravity on Zircon was slightly lighter than Earth standard, and he felt almost bouncy as he stepped onto alien soil for the first time. A delegation awaited him, 3 Zirconians, their crystalline bodies shimmering with internal light. The tallest of the 3 stepped forward, its faceted head inclining in what Jake hoped was a gesture of greeting. "Welcome to Zircon, Dr. Harper." The alien's voice resonated directly in Jake's mind, bypassing his ears entirely. "I am Crix Toll, appointed by the High Council to oversee the transfer of Zorn-Kerr's estate." Jake bowed awkwardly, trying to remember the briefing on Zirconian etiquette. "Thank you for your hospitality," he said, relieved when Crix Toll's body pulsed with a soft blue light that he took for approval. "Come," Crix Toll gestured with a crystalline appendage. "We have much to discuss, and Zircon's sons wait for no one." As they walked through the crystal city, Jake's archaeologist's mind was in overdrive. The Zirconians had clearly evolved in harmony with their crystalline environment, their bodies resembling the very minerals that made up their world. He longed to ask 1,000 questions, but the gravity of his situation kept him focused. They entered a structure that seemed to be carved from a single massive gemstone, its interior cool and dimly lit. Jake's escort led him to a chamber where a holographic display flickered to life, showing a map of a distant region of the planet. Zorn-Kerr's research facility, Crix Toll explained, located in the Forbidden Zones, where the crystal forests grow wild and untamed. Jake frowned. Forbidden? Why? The Zirconians exchanged glances, their bodies flickering with colors Jake couldn't interpret. Finally, Crix Toll spoke. "The Forbidden Zones are home to anomalies, unexplained phenomena that defy our science. Zorn-Kerr believed these anomalies held the key to understanding the universe itself." A chill ran down Jake's spine. What had Zorn-Kerr discovered out there in the wilds of this alien world? "And Lyra's in?" Jake asked, the question that had been burning in his mind since he'd first learned of his inheritance. "She awaits you at the facility," Crix Toll said. "But be warned, Dr. Harper, Lyra's in is unique, even among our kind. Zorn-Kerr's work changed her in ways we do not fully comprehend." Before Jake could press for more information, alarms blared throughout the structure. The Zirconians' bodies pulsed with urgent red light. "What's happening?" Jake shouted over the din. "Unstable wormhole detected in the upper atmosphere." Crix Toll's mental voice was tinged with fear. "A ship is attempting to breach our defenses." Jake's mind raced. Could this attack be connected to Zorn-Kerr's mysterious research? He had no time to ponder as Crix Toll ushered him towards an emergency transport. "We must get you to the research facility immediately," the Zirconian insisted. Whatever Zornke discovered, it must not fall into the wrong hands. As they raced through the crystal city, explosions rocked the structures around them. Jake caught glimpses of sleek, black ships engaging with zirconian defenders in the sky above. His heart pounded as he realized just how far out of his depth he truly was. The transport shot out of the city, skimming low over the crystal forests. Jake white-knuckled the controls, every instinct screaming at him to turn back. But Zornke had trusted him with something important enough to die for. He couldn't let his friend down now. As they approached the forbidden zones, the crystal formations grew more chaotic, twisting into impossible shapes that hurt Jake's eyes to look at directly. The transport's sensors began to malfunction, static filling the displays. "We're on our own from here," Jake muttered, guiding the craft by sight alone. In the distance, he spotted a structure nestled in a clearing, Zornke's research facility. A flash of movement caught Jake's eye. A figure stood at the edge of the clearing, humanoid but clearly not human. As they drew closer, he saw that her body seemed to be composed of swerving energy, barely contained within a vaguely female form. The transport touched down, and Jake stepped out on shaky legs. The energy being approached, and he heard a voice in his mind, melodic, curious, and tinged with something alien he couldn't quite define. "Welcome, Jake Harper," Lyra Zinn said. "We have been waiting for you." Jake swallowed hard, realizing that his adventure on this strange world was only just beginning. Behind him, the sounds of battle grew closer, and he knew that time was running out to uncover the truth behind Zornke's final gift, and the cosmic secret that might just change everything. Jake stood frozen, mesmerized by Lyra Zinn's otherworldly form. Her body shimmered and pulsed with vibrant hues, like a living aurora contained within a vaguely humanoid shape. Where her eyes should have been, twin vortexes of swirling energy gazed at him with an intensity that made him shiver. "Hi, it's nice to meet you," Jake managed, his training in alien cultures failing him in the face of such an extraordinary being. "I'm sorry about Zornke. I didn't realize that you would inherit a wife along with his research." Lyra Zinn's mental voice held a note of amusement. "Zornke always did have a flair for the dramatic, but we have no time for lengthy explanations now. The attackers will be upon us soon." As if to emphasize her point, a distant explosion rocked the crystal forest, sending shards of glittering debris raining down around them. Jake instinctively ducked, but Lyra Zinn remained motionless, the crystal shrapnel passing harmlessly through her energy form. "Right," Jake said, straightening up and trying to regain his composure. "What do we need to do?" Lyra Zinn gestured towards the research facility, a structure that seemed to be part crystal growth and part advanced technology. "Zornke's life work is inside. We must secure it before it falls into the wrong hands." They hurried into the facility, Jake marveling at how Lyra Zinn seemed to float rather than walk, her energy form rippling with each movement. The interior was a maze of crystal corridors and rooms filled with equipment Jake could barely comprehend. What exactly was Zornke working on? Jake asked as they moved deeper into the complex. Lyra Zinn's form pulsed with a mix of colors that Jake interpreted as hesitation. "It is difficult to explain in terms your species would understand. Zornke discovered a way to manipulate the fundamental forces that shape reality itself." Jake's mind reeled at the implications. "You mean like changing the laws of physics?" "In a sense," Lyra Zinn confirmed. "But such power comes at a great cost. I am living proof of that." Before Jake could ask what she meant, they reached a sealed chamber at the heart of the facility. Lyra Zinn placed her hand, or what passed for a hand in her energy form, against a crystal panel. The door slid open with a soft hum. Inside, Jake gasped. The chamber was dominated by a massive device that looked like a cross between a particle accelerator and a zirconian crystal formation. At its center, a swirling vortex of energy crackled and pulsed. "The Nexus," Lyra Zinn said, her mental voice filled with a mix of awe and fear. Zornke's magnum opus. With this, one could reshape the very fabric of the universe. Jake approached the device cautiously, his archaeologist's curiosity warring with his survival instinct. And this is what those attackers are after. Lurazin nodded, her form rippling with urgency. We cannot let it fall into their hands. Zornke believed that humanity, your species, might be the key to unlocking its true potential without succumbing to its dangers. Me? Jake said incredulously. But I'm just an archaeologist. I study the past, not reshape the universe. Lurazin's energy form seemed to soften, reaching out to touch Jake's arm. He felt a tingling warmth spread through him at the contact. Zornke saw something in you, Jake Harper. A unique perspective that comes from understanding the long arc of history. He believed you could see patterns that others might miss. Jake's mind raced, trying to process everything he'd learned. But before he could respond, the facility shook violently. Alarms blared, and the crystal walls around them began to crack. They're here, Lurazin said, her form flaring with intense light. We must activate the Nexus's defenses. Jake looked at the incomprehensible alien device, then back at Lurazin. In that moment, he made a decision that would change the course of his life, and potentially the fate of the universe. Tell me what to do, he said, squaring his shoulders. Lurazin's form pulsed with what Jake hoped was approval. She guided him to a control panel, her energy form partially merging with his as she shared the knowledge he needed directly into his mind. As Jake's fingers danced over the alien controls, guided by Lurazin's expertise, he felt a sense of exhilaration unlike anything he'd experienced in his years of archaeological study. This wasn't just uncovering the past, this was shaping the future. The Nexus hummed to life, its energy field expanding to encompass the entire chamber. Outside, they heard the sounds of battle growing closer. Now what? Jake asked, looking to Lurazin. Her energy form swirled with determination. Now we fight. Together. As the first of the attackers breached the outer defenses, Jake Harper, archaeologist turned reluctant guardian of cosmic power, stood side by side with his alien wife, ready to face whatever the universe threw at them next. The attackers burst into the chamber, a motley crew of various alien species led by a towering reptilian being with cybernetic enhancements. Jake's heart raced as he realized he was face to face with real-life space pirates. Step away from the Nexus, the reptilian leader hissed, brandishing a weapon that crackled with exotic energy. Jake glanced at Lurazin, whose form pulsed with defiance. I don't think so, he said, surprising himself with his own bravado. This doesn't belong to you. The leader's cybernetic eye wared as it focused on Jake. Ah, the human inheritor. How quaint. You have no idea of the power you're dealing with, do you? Maybe not, Jake admitted, his mind racing. But I know enough to understand that it's dangerous in the wrong hands. The reptilian laughed, a harsh, grating sound. Dangerous? It's the key to unlimited power. Imagine reshaping entire galaxies to your will. As the standoff continued, Jake's archaeologist's mind kicked into high gear. He began to notice details, the peculiar insignias on the attackers' uniforms, the subtle differences in their technology. These weren't just random pirates. They were organized, well-funded. Who are you really working for? Jake asked, buying time as he felt Lurazin energy form subtly shifting beside him, preparing for something. The leader's expression flickered with surprise before settling back into a sneer. Clever human. But it doesn't matter. The consortium will have the Nexus, one way or another. The consortium. Jake filed that information away, knowing it could be crucial later. But now he needed a plan. Suddenly, inspiration struck. Jake's years of studying ancient civilizations and their downfalls gave him an insight that these power-hungry pirates lacked. You know, Jake said casually, edging closer to the Nexus's control panel, throughout history, every civilization that sought unlimited power has ended up destroying itself. The Martian crystal mines, the Andromeda singularity beings, Even on Earth, our own nuclear age nearly wiped us out. The reptilian leader's eyes narrowed. Your point, human. Jake shrugged, his hand hovering near a particular set of controls that Lyra Zinn had shown him. Just that power like this always comes with a price. Are you sure you're ready to pay it? In that moment of distraction, Jake activated the Nexus's hidden protocols. The device hummed to life, its energy field expanding rapidly. The attackers stumbled back, caught off guard. Lyra Zinn's form flared brilliantly. Now Jake. Jake didn't hesitate. He plunged his hand into the swirling vortex of the Nexus, guided by some instinct he didn't fully understand. Pain lanced through him, but also knowledge. Fragments of information, glimpses of cosmic truths, all flooding into his mind. The chamber filled with blinding light. When it faded, the attackers were gone, transported to some distant part of the galaxy by the Nexus's power. Jake staggered, overwhelmed by the experience. Lyra Zinn steadied him, her energy form cool and soothing against his skin. You did it, she said, her mental voice filled with awe. You tapped into the Nexus's true potential. As the adrenaline faded, Jake's analytical mind began piecing together the fragments of information he'd received. Lyra, he said slowly, I think I understand now. The Nexus, it's not just a weapon or a tool for reshaping reality. It's a key. Lyra Zinn's form pulsed with curiosity. A key to what? Jake's eyes widened as the full implications hit him. To the universe itself. Zornker discovered that our reality, everything we know, it's all part of a vast cosmic experiment, and the Nexus is a way to communicate with the beings running it. Lyra Zinn's form shimmered with a mix of emotions Jake couldn't fully interpret. Then Zornker's theories were correct. We are not alone in the multiverse. Jake nodded, his mind reeling with the enormity of the discovery. But why me? Why did Zornker choose to pass this on to a human? Perhaps, Lyra Zinn said softly, he saw in humanity the potential to bridge the gap between our reality and what lies beyond. Your species' curiosity, your drive to explore and understand, it makes you unique. As they stood there, surrounded by the humming power of the Nexus, Jake realized that his life's work, uncovering the secrets of the past, had led him to a destiny he could never have imagined. With Lyra Zinn at his side and the cosmic mystery of the Nexus before him, he knew that his greatest adventure was just beginning. But first, they had a more immediate problem to deal with. The consortium, Jake said grimly. They'll be back with more forces. We need to protect the Nexus and figure out how to use it responsibly. Lyra Zinn's form pulsed with determination. Together, she said, we will find a way. As they began to plan their next move, Jake couldn't help but smile. He had come to Zircon expecting to inherit wealth and artifacts. Instead, he had found a universe-altering secret, a powerful alien ally, and a quest that would change the course of history. For an archaeologist who had always dreamed of making a groundbreaking discovery, it was more than he could have ever hoped for. In the days that followed, Jake and Lyra Zinn worked tirelessly to unravel the mysteries of the Nexus. The research facility became their fortress, a bastion of discovery amidst the wild crystal forests of Zircon. Jake's archaeological expertise proved invaluable as they pored over Zornker's notes, deciphering the complex interplay between ancient alien wisdom and cutting-edge cosmic science. It's like piecing together a civilization from pottery shards, Jake mused one day, his eyes bleary from hours of study. Except instead of pottery, we're dealing with the building blocks of reality itself. Lyra Zinn's energy form shimmered with what Jake had come to recognize as amusement. Your human metaphors are quaint, but accurate. As they worked, Jake found himself growing closer to his alien wife. Lyra Zinn's vast knowledge and unique perspective challenged him, pushed him to think beyond the boundaries of human understanding. In turn, she seemed fascinated by his intuitive leaps, the way his archaeologist's mind could connect seemingly unrelated pieces of information into a coherent whole. But their peaceful research was not to last. 3 weeks after their initial confrontation, the consortium returned in force. Alarms blazed throughout the facility as a fleet of sleek, black ships descended from Zircon's purple sky. Jake rushed to the control room, Lyra Zinn close behind. "They've brought an army," Jake said grimly, watching the tactical displays, "and some kind of energy weapon I've never seen before." Lyra Zinn's form pulsed with concern. "They mean to take the Nexus by force, whatever the cost." Jake's mind raced. They couldn't hope to defeat such a force head-on, but maybe they didn't have to. "Lyra," he said slowly, an idea forming. "You said the Nexus is a key to communicating with the beings behind our reality, right? What if we could use it to, I don't know, send a message? Call for help?" Lyra Zinn's energy swirled thoughtfully. "It's possible, but such an act would require immense power and precision. We could easily tear a hole in the fabric of space-time itself." Jake grinned, the thrill of discovery overriding his fear. "Then we'll just have to be very, very careful." As the consortium forces began their assault on the facility's outer defenses, Jake and Lyra Zinn raced to modify the Nexus. Jake's understanding of ancient power systems, gleaned from years of studying lost civilizations, proved crucial in adapting the alien technology. "It's like the Antikythera mechanism," Jake muttered as he worked, "but instead of predicting celestial movements, we're trying to punch through to another layer of reality." Lyra Zinn's form merged partially with the Nexus, her energy interfacing directly with its systems. "I believe I can guide the signal," she said, her mental voice strained. "But I'll need you to stabilize the quantum fluctuations." Jake nodded, pushing aside his doubts. He was an archaeologist, not a physicist, but he trusted Lyra Zinn's judgment. As the sounds of battle grew closer, he focused on the task at hand, his fingers dancing over alien controls with a surety he didn't entirely feel. The Nexus hummed to life, its energy field expanding to fill the chamber. Jake felt a familiar tingling sensation as the device's power washed over him. But this time, instead of random fragments of information, he sensed something else. A vast, incomprehensible presence just beyond the veil of reality. "Now, Jake," Lyra Zinn cried, her form blazing with intensity. Jake took a deep breath and plunged his consciousness into the Nexus, guided by Lyra Zinn's alien expertise and his own intuition. For a moment, he felt as if he were falling through an endless void. Then, suddenly, contact. Images and sensations flooded Jake's mind, too alien and complex for his human brain to fully process. But through it all, he managed to convey a single desperate message: "Help us." The response was immediate and overwhelming. The very fabric of reality seemed to shudder around them. The Nexus pulsed with power beyond anything they had seen before, and a blinding light filled the chamber. When Jake's vision cleared, he gasped in awe. The consortium forces were gone, their ships frozen in mid-air outside the facility. But it wasn't just the attackers who were affected. The entire planet of Zircon seemed to be holding its breath, caught in a moment between moments. What happened?" Jake asked, his voice hoarse. Lyra Zinn's form flickered weakly, drained by the immense effort. "We got their attention," she said simply. As if in response, a new presence filled the chamber. It wasn't a physical being, but rather a sense of vast, incomprehensible intelligence. Jake felt his mind strain to encompass even a fraction of its totality. "Congratulations," a voice that wasn't a voice echoed in their minds. "You have passed the test." Jake blinked, struggling to form coherent thoughts in the face of such an entity. "Test? What test?" "The cosmic experiment," the presence explained. "Your reality, your entire universe, was created to see if life could evolve to a point where it could reach beyond its own dimensional boundaries. You, Jake Harper, and your bond with Lyra Zinn have proven that it can." The implications were staggering. Jake's archaeological instincts kicked in, hungry for more knowledge. "So what happens now?" he asked. The presence seemed to consider for a moment. "Now, you have a choice. Your species and others like it have earned the right to join us in shaping the multiverse. Or If you prefer, we can reset your reality and allow you to continue evolving on your own path. Jake looked at Lyra Zinn, her energy form pulsing with a mix of excitement and trepidation. He thought of Earth, of humanity's long journey from cave paintings to the stars. He thought of Zircon and countless other alien worlds, each with their own rich histories and potential futures. With a smile, Jake made his decision, one that would shape the destiny of not just humanity, but all sentient life in their universe. Jake took a deep breath, feeling the weight of countless civilizations resting on his next words. He looked at Lyra Zinn, her energy form swirling with anticipation, then back to the vast, incomprehensible presence before them. "We choose to continue on our own path," Jake said firmly. "Humanity, Zirconians, and all the other species in our universe, we've come this far on our own. We've made mistakes, yes, but we've also achieved incredible things. I believe we have the potential to grow, to learn, to become something even greater without outside intervention." The cosmic presence seemed to pulse with something akin to approval. "A wise choice, Jake Harper. Your species' determination and curiosity continue to impress us." Lyra Zinn's form shimmered with pride and affection. "We may be young in cosmic terms," she added, "but we have much to offer the multiverse on our own terms." "Indeed," the presence agreed. "Very well. We shall withdraw, but know that you have opened a door. In time, when your civilizations are truly ready, you may choose to reach out to us again." With that, the overwhelming sense of cosmic intelligence began to fade. As it did, Jake felt a surge of energy coursing through the nexus, more powerful than anything they had experienced before. "What's happening?" he asked, watching in awe as tendrils of energy began to spread out from the device, enveloping the entire chamber. Lyra Zinn's form pulsed with excitement. "They're giving us a gift, Jake, knowledge. The power to protect ourselves and grow responsibly." The energy washed over them both, and Jake gasped as his mind expanded, filled with insights and understanding far beyond his previous comprehension. He saw the intricate web of space-time, the delicate balance of forces that held the universe together. More importantly, he understood how to work with these forces, how to protect their reality from threats like the Consortium without causing cosmic harm. As the energy faded, Jake found himself standing on shaky legs, his head spinning with newfound knowledge. Outside, he could see the Consortium ships unfreezing, confusion evident in their erratic movements. "We need to act fast," Jake said, his hands moving over the Nexus controls with newfound confidence. "Lyra, can you broadcast a message to every ship out there?" Lyra Zinn nodded, her energy form interfacing seamlessly with the alien technology. "Ready when you are." Jake took a deep breath and began to speak, his words carried to every Consortium soldier and beyond, to the farthest reaches of Zircon. "This is Jake Harper, speaking on behalf of Earth, Zircon, and every free world in this galaxy. The power you sought here is beyond any one species to control. It belongs to all of us, a shared legacy and a shared responsibility. You have a choice now. Join us in protecting this gift or leave. But know this, we now have the means to defend ourselves against any threat, from within our universe or beyond." To demonstrate, Jake activated the Nexus's defensive protocols. A shimmering field of energy expanded outward, enveloping not just the facility, but the entire planet of Zircon. The Consortium ships found themselves gently but firmly pushed back, unable to penetrate the barrier. "Your weapons are useless here," Jake continued, "but we're not interested in revenge or domination. We're offering you a chance to be part of something greater, to explore the cosmos and grow alongside us. The choice is yours." As Jake finished speaking, he and Lyra Zinn watched the tactical displays anxiously. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, one by one, the Consortium ships began to power down their weapons. The reptilian leader's face appeared on a communication screen, his expression a mix of awe and begrudging respect. "You've won this round, human," he said gruffly. Perhaps there is wisdom in your words. We will withdraw and consider your offer." As the consortium fleet retreated, cheers erupted from the Zirconian defenders. Jake slumped in relief, the adrenaline fading and leaving him exhausted but exhilarated. Lyra Zin's energy form enveloped him in a gentle embrace. "You did it, Jake. You found a peaceful solution, just as Zormka believed you would." Jake smiled, leaning into her comforting presence. "We did it together. All of us, humans, Zirconians, even the consortium. We've taken our first steps into a larger universe." In the days that followed, news of the events on Zircon spread across the galaxy. Representatives from hundreds of worlds, including Earth, arrived to discuss the implications of their newfound cosmic awareness. The Nexus facility became a center of learning and cooperation, with Jake and Lyra Zin at its heart. As Jake stood on a balcony overlooking the shimmering crystal forests of Zircon, Lyra Zin by his side, he marveled at how far he'd come. From a solitary archaeologist piecing together the past, he had become a key figure in shaping the future of multiple civilizations. "What do you think happens next?" he asked Lyra Zin, watching the twin suns of Zircon set in a blaze of purple and gold. Her energy form pulsed with warmth and optimism. "We explore, we learn, we grow. Together." Jake nodded, a sense of excitement and purpose filling him. The universe was vast and full of wonders, and they had only scratched the surface of its mysteries. With the knowledge of the Nexus and the unity of countless species, there was no limit to what they might achieve. As the first stars began to twinkle in the alien sky, Jake Harper, archaeologist, cosmic diplomat, and reluctant hero, took Lyra Zin's hand. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever wonders awaited them in the depths of space, they would face them side by side. The greatest adventure in the history of all species was just beginning, and Jake couldn't wait to see where it would lead.